Kanye West, he would be facing sex trafficking charges.
Gene Deal just dropped a bombshell, naming 5 heavyweight celebrities tangled up with Diddy in ways nobody saw coming. Names like Kanye, Jay-Z, and Usher are at the center of the storm. These revelations are so explosive that fans and insiders alike are left asking the same burning question. Why did 50 Cent cut all of this from his documentary? We're going to unravel each connection, layer by layer. And it starts with the first shocking story Gene shared. That story? Usher. Gene recounted moments from Usher's early years, moments no child should have witnessed. Even without the full picture, Gene says, the implications are staggering. Behind closed doors, in the glittering chaos of fame, there were truths so dark, so hidden, that they could change how the world sees some of its biggest stars.
There's probably a lot of stuff. Look at Usher. What Usher say? I seen some things I shouldn't have been seeing at that age. What does that tell you? That he's seen some things, he was around some things when he was young that he shouldn't have been at a Diddy party. So that's going to show you that there's certain things that are happening that's going on that here it is, this kid was saying he shouldn't even seen it and been around it himself.
Well, the whispers point to a darker truth. Usher was thrust into worlds far beyond his years, caught in environments no young person should ever face. But Gene Deal's revelations don't stop there. They plunge even deeper. What he claims about Usher's time with Diddy is nothing short of shocking. According to Gene, a single night, a single incident, spiraled so out of control that it landed Usher in a hospital bed, forever leaving questions about what really went on behind closed doors.
A certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know.
Gene Deal said Usher himself has hinted at this before, even if he never went into full detail. Because of that, Gene questions why Usher would later defend or praise someone who allegedly mistreated him during his younger years.
Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp.
Gene dug into a memory that has haunted him for years, a moment that explains why this story cuts so deep. He insists he saw things firsthand, actions and behaviors that painted the world around Diddy as dangerous, even toxic, especially for young artists still finding their footing. What makes it even darker? The documentary deliberately erased one of the most shocking events, something so extreme that it landed Usher in the hospital. The scene never made it to the screen, but Gene says the truth is far more disturbing than anyone could imagine.
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not going to speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing something, they may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking, and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when people say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas, man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard.
Free Gene explained that while some insiders clearly saw what was unfolding, silence was the unspoken rule of the industry. People turned a blind eye, protecting themselves and their careers. But when it came to Diddy and Jamie Foxx, Gene Deal claims he witnessed things that can't be ignored, and he's speaking only on what he personally saw. He remembered first meeting Jamie Foxx on a tour bus, a blur of lights and laughter that now feels almost surreal. At first, it seemed casual, even friendly, nothing that hinted at the darkness beneath. But what Gene later discovered would shock anyone. Jamie and Diddy were allegedly involved in acts so horrific toward women that it left him questioning everything he thought he knew about Hollywood's glittering facade.
The first time I ever went to an exotic bookstore, with Puff, I didn't know he even did that. But we was in Atlanta. So when we went to the door, they gave him a brown paper bag. So I guess this is a place that he was used to and people knew him there. So when they gave him a brown paper bag, Puff was just going around the store, just picking items off the shelves and stuff like that, putting them in a brown paper bag. So then, I was behind him and no Diddy, but I was about 3 feet behind him, you know what I'm saying, as he was putting stuff and putting it in his bag and stuff like that. So this one particular place that he was put up there, he had to reach up kind of high and get it. So he just started pulling things out, and he was pulling a lot of them off there. So I was like so I looked up and the thing said butt plugs. When he walking down the thing, said butt plugs. I said, hey yo, just to mess with him. I said, hey yo, what are you getting these for? And he said, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yes, you can. And I waited up at the register for him, because they had the big counter up there. So when he came to the counter, I said, yo, I'm finna see what this motherfucker, this mofo is putting in his bag. Cause I know he gonna have to take everything and put it on the counter so the dude could count it, right? My man, when he came there, he gave the dude a wad of hundreds like this. You know what I'm saying? He gave him a wad of 100 and just put it up there. The dude ain't even, you know what I'm saying? He ain't even want to know what was in the bag.
After that, they boarded a private jet and headed to North Carolina for a show. J. Rule was traveling with them. During the flight, Gene said Diddy kept pushing Ja to go after Jay-Z musically.
And he was talking bad and talking crazy about Jay-Z and how Ja was talking about if it wasn't for him, that Jay wouldn't be the artist he was. He got him started. He wrote certain things and stuff like that to put him out there. Cause, back in the day, nobody was even effing with Jay like that. So, but Puff was he was adamant about.
Did he want to start a war with Jay-Z? It's an intriguing question. However, when they arrived at the hotel, they were staying in a large suite. People were eating, talking, and hanging out. Later on, Diddy, J. Rule, and a few women went into a room together. Before going in, Diddy gave Gene one clear instruction. Do not let anyone else enter that room.
A girlfriend, they went to the room. I don't know what they were doing in there. I didn't give a shit. But Puff told me, Gene, do not let nobody come in this room. Don't let nobody come in this room. So, hour or so went by, whatever like that. Time went by. The doorbell rang. And it was this dude at the door saying that he was Ja's cousin. And I was like, he said, I'm here for Ja Rule. I said, who you? He said, I'm his cousin and everything like that. I said, but, he busy right now. I'm telling the dude that he's busy. The dude is talking about, but I want to talk to him. I said, bro, they don't want to be bothered. I'm trying to, tell this kid, they don't want to be bothered, bro. You know what I'm saying? He said, but that's my cousin. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, listen here, bro. They're in a room. They don't want to be bothered. And you could see that there's only one room going back that way when you come to the room. You can see it's only one room. So then it's a piano, it's a couch, it's a room right there. And He talking about he was going through the room. I said, yo, bro, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the breath out of my body before you go in that room. You understand? Next thing you know, I grabbed him and we started. It wasn't no wrestling thing like that because he couldn't handle it at the time. He could front and tell his friends because he didn't hit me up on Instagram. He could tell his friends all he want to, but that if Puff and Jai tell you the story, that nigga was upside the piano. You understand? So now, Jai and Puff run out. They butt the naked, bruh, and they was grabbing towels. You understand? They was grabbing towels, and then Puff was like, yo, Gene. What's going on? John was like, yo, he said, that's my cousin. I was like, yo, bruh. He tried to get in the room and I wasn't letting him get in the room, bruh. And then Puff looked at John like this, you know, with that look like he said. And then John said, you don't want to be up in that room because there was a whole lot of freaky shit going on.
One Gene revealed that Diddy had a reputation for orchestrating situations that subtly, but powerfully, shaped people's choices. That night, Gene is convinced Diddy was maneuvering Ja toward a path he couldn't yet see, a direction that could make or break his career. Whether Ja Rule will ever reveal what happened remains a mystery, hanging over the story like a shadow.
Jay-Z and Puff was given an assignment, and that was to destroy East Coast rap. And what I mean by that, and I know people gonna be like, yo, Gene is out of his mind and everything like that. Check this out, brother, is that New York rappers was getting 800 to 1.2 million, or some larger than that, and sign with labels back then. And they was getting a lot of money to make albums and records. When they had guys down south that these labels was paying $250,000, $300,000 on record deals, and these guys was bringing back platinum albums and everything like that. So what they had to do was they had to keep New York rappers down. That's one reason, other than the Irv Gotti shit that 50 was going through and the poison they was putting in about 50, he had to go elsewhere to California, or with Jay and not with Dre and Eminem to get a deal. They did not want East Coast rappers to get big. They were suppressing all new artists that was coming out of New York. Jay and Diddy was doing that. That's why when I heard your story, because I knew this for a long time, but when I heard Dame Dash that Jay wouldn't sign off on nothing, Jay wouldn't do this and Jay would that, because he couldn't let a Cameron blow up. He couldn't let an East Coast rapper like Beanie Siegel blow up. Because him and Diddy was giving that deal, we gotta keep these East Coast rappers down. Because down south rappers,
or from Gene's perspective, the industry itself was broken. Record labels couldn't justify handing massive advances to New York artists, while Southern acts were raking in bigger profits on shoestring budgets. But instead of fixing the imbalance, he claims the powers that be deliberately held East Coast talent back. And that, he insists, is a big part of why 50 Cent's early career was a battlefield. Caught between ruthless label politics and a storm of damaging rumors, 50 Cent had no choice but to leave New York to chase a real shot at success. That's when he started forging alliances outside his home turf, cutting ties with the very system that should have supported him. And in the process, it cemented a deep-seated resentment, why he harbors such intense disdain for both Jay-Z and Diddy.
So they was placed to destroy the East Coast rap. And then along came a somebody that was about to bring East Coast rap back. And there's nothing they could do about it. And this kid was finna put East Coast on the map, just like Big did. And this is after 50. And that was Papa Smoke. Pop Smoke. That was Pop Smoke.
Let me just tell you something, man. 2 weeks before Pop Smoke died, K Slay, who heard this shit from the industry, that knows shit that happens in the industry, set Pop Smoke and his people down and gave them a jewel. He said, y'all gonna have to protect him with his life, with y'all life. Y'all gonna have to protect him with y'all life. Cause he know Pop Smoke was about to bring rap back to the East Coast. And what happened? Pop Smoke ended up dead. Now, I ain't trying to say that's some kind of conspiracy, and maybe some other shit was going on, or this, that, and the third. But brother, he had that conversation with K Slay 2 weeks before he was murdered. They didn't want rap to be back.
9 Gene concluded with a chilling observation. The industry never truly wanted East Coast rap to reclaim its throne. Every time it seemed poised for a comeback, something or someone intervened to stop it in its tracks. He admits there's no concrete proof, but the pattern is undeniable, a recurring thread he's witnessed over years of insider access. From Gene's perspective, Jay-Z and Diddy were far more entwined than the public has been led to believe. While Jay-Z's lawyer insists there was no real friendship, Gene argues that their public interactions tell a different, far more revealing story, one of calculated alliance, hidden loyalties, and a connection that shaped the fate of an entire music scene.
They wasn't playing basketball. They wasn't playing baseball. They wasn't playing football. And they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it. But I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them.
Team Gene also says their relationship went beyond business. He claims they joked with each other about their personal lives and even had matching white girlfriends.
They had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So, I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, ass. I gotta go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me. When they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pocket's 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I ain't know you had an issue with him.
I'm never a fan of somebody that I was gonna knock out. And then we was at the, it was me, him, Ashley Kushner, Puff and them. We was all at the next game together, and he didn't even remember none of it. And I don't expect him to remember, but I remembered. You understand? And he told Puff, he said, yo, Puff, yo, I heard about that Gene right there. That Gene got a mean left. Oh, you said that Gene a knock a nigga out. Then he gonna come up to me and say, man, you look like, man, you a turn ass up. And I said to himself, I said, yo, no Diddy. Pause. Whatever. I said, he don't even remember. I was about to knock him the F out. He didn't even remember. He said to me to Laura.
So, it seems Kanye's court appearance earlier this year was more about show than substance. You really have to wonder whether having Kanye there actually helps Diddy at all, especially given Kanye's past controversial statements. Why do you think 50 Cent chose not to talk about these celebrities? Let us know in the comments.